Come closer now. Settle in and listen. We're about to dust off one of the oldest, one of the most powerful stories ever told. It's a timeless tale, you see, full of miracles, of unwavering faith, and of a man who was chosen by a power far, far greater than himself. We're going to explore the legend of Moses, but we'll see it through a new lens, reimagined for our own eyes. And what a story it is. A journey that starts from a place of utter helplessness and ends with an act that defies the very laws of nature. That right there, that's the heart of the legend, the unbelievable path of one single man who was truly destined to change the world. So, let's turn to the very first chapter of this remarkable life. Every great story has to have a beginning. And this one, well, it starts with an act of desperate hope. Right here, in the reeds of the great Nile River, fate itself steps in. A life that was meant to be put out is instead set on a course for absolute greatness. So who is this hero of ours? The ancient texts, they describe a man of deep contrasts. A Hebrew by his birth, sure, but a prince by his upbringing. He's said to have these strong, determined eyes, but his spirit is humble. And even though he starts out in fear, he will come to wield an immense power and authority. This is Moses, the deliverer. Just try to picture it, a small, woven basket, such a fragile little thing against the current of the mighty Nile, and inside, a newborn baby. The sunlight is soft, almost golden, catching the reeds and the gentle ripples of the water. There's this feeling of both profound danger and somehow a divine peace in this one powerful image. And then comes the moment of discovery. An Egyptian princess, surrounded by her servants, walking along the riverbank. Imagine her expression, that first flicker of surprise that gives way to a wave of pure compassion as she sees the hidden child. This one single act of kindness, it changes everything. So, from the river, the child's life takes this completely unexpected turn. He's raised not as a slave, but as a prince of Egypt. But amidst all that unimaginable privilege, a conflict starts to grow inside him. A turmoil of the heart that will eventually force him to choose his true destiny. And here you can just see the sheer contrast of his upbringing. A young Moses, dressed in golden garments, standing confidently among the grand pillars of a luxurious palace. He has all the power and comfort a royal could ever want, but his conscience knows, it knows this is not his true home. And this is the breaking point, the moment that inner turmoil just explodes into action. He sees a Hebrew slave being brutally beaten by an Egyptian guard, and in a flash of righteous anger, a surge of justice, he strikes the guard down. The lighting is so intense, the dust hangs in the air. It is a moment of raw, emotional conflict that absolutely seals his fate. After this, Moses has to flee, and his journey isn't just a physical one across the desert. No, it's an emotional one too. He starts out as a man gripped by fear, literally running for his life. And that fear gives way to a deep confusion about who he is, what his purpose is. But out of that confusion, courage is born. And that courage, ultimately, it solidifies into the unshakable authority of a true prophet. Now we arrive at the very heart of the legend. Alone in the desert, living the quiet life of a shepherd, Moses has an encounter that will change him and history forever. A divine voice calls out from an impossible sight, and his true mission is finally revealed. Can you even imagine it? A bush, completely ablaze with a glowing fire, but its leaves and branches aren't being burned up. It's just radiating this divine light. And Moses stands before it, just a humble man in a vast desert, witnessing a miracle that defies all logic. This is no ordinary fire. It's a holy moment, a spiritual calling. With his mission now crystal clear, Moses returns to the land of his birth. Not as a prince this time, but as a prophet, and he brings a simple, yet utterly impossible demand to the most powerful man on earth. This sets the stage for a monumental clash of wills that's going to shake an entire empire to its very foundations. Imagine the sheer audacity of this moment. Here stands Moses, a shepherd, before the mighty Pharaoh who's sitting on a golden throne, the living embodiment of a god on earth. The tension in that grand throne room, you could cut it with a knife. It's the ultimate confrontation, a humble man with a divine purpose against a proud king with absolute power. When Pharaoh refuses, well, a series of divine judgments begins to unfold, and each one is more terrifying than the last. The Great Nile, the very lifeblood of Egypt, turns to blood. A devastating swarm of locusts eats every green thing in sight. An unnatural darkness falls, blotting out the sun and plunging the land into total chaos. Each plague is a direct challenge to an Egyptian god, a relentless pressure meant to break a hardened heart, all leading up to a final, terrible cost. But even with their freedom won, the journey is far from over. The climax of their escape is the greatest miracle of all, and it's followed by a moment of profound spiritual importance. A moment where a new moral foundation for his people is quite literally set in stone. With Pharaoh's army closing in behind them, Moses raises his staff, and the Red Sea itself obeys him, splitting into two towering walls of water, revealing a path of dry land. The Israelites walk right through, saved by an impossible act of divine intervention. It's a cinematic moment of pure, unadulterated awe. After the escape, high on the stormy peak of Mount Sinai, Moses receives the law. We see him there, holding stone tablets that are just glowing with a divine light, surrounded by thunder and clouds. This isn't just a miracle of power, it's one of purpose. It's the giving of a moral code meant to shape a new society, to guide a new nation. But the story is also so deeply human. When Moses comes back down from the mountain, he finds his people have already turned away, worshiping a golden calf. And his reaction, it isn't some divine calm. It's righteous, human anger. He shatters the sacred tablets in a moment of profound disappointment and emotional drama, a leader just heartbroken by his people's failings. And so the legend comes to a close, a cycle of faith and failure, of miracles and of humanity. As we retell these ancient tales, we find new ways to give them a voice. The very images you've just seen, they were born from modern tools, shaping light and shadow from nothing but words. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As technology gives us these incredible new ways to tell stories, how will we choose to share the essential legends of our own time? What stories will we build for tomorrow?